You finally decide, okay, I need to start investing. So you open YouTube, and within 5 minutes, you've heard about index funds, Roth IRAs, employer matches, compound interest, asset allocation, and somehow you're supposed to understand all of it. Then you check your bank account, $43. With what money? So you close the app, maybe next month, then next month comes. Your car needs a repair, your rent goes up, your credit card bill shows up, and suddenly another year has passed. Meanwhile, the internet is full of people showing million-dollar portfolios and talking about financial freedom. It can make you feel like you're already behind. But here's the part nobody tells you. You don't need a lot of money to start. You need to know where your next dollar goes. That's it. Not which stock to buy, not which app is best, not whether you should invest in an index fund or something else. First, you need to answer one question. What job should this dollar do? Because your next dollar has a job, and if you give it the wrong one, you can actually make your financial situation worse. I'm Anne, and I spend a slightly unreasonable amount of time thinking about money, why it feels so complicated, and how to make it make a little more sense. So today, we're going to put those jobs in the right order, starting from $0. Let's get into it. Ask 5 people how to start investing, and you'll get 5 answers. Build an emergency fund. Pay off your debt. Invest immediately. Get your employer match. Open a Roth IRA. And here's what happens. You hear all of it and do nothing because you don't know which one comes first. But here's the secret. They're not competing answers. They're steps. Think about building a house. You don't argue about whether the roof or the foundation is more important. You build the foundation first, then the walls, then the roof. Money works the same way. You don't need the perfect financial move. You need the next right move. So let's start at the beginning. Before you invest a single dollar, you need a dollar to invest. Let's say you bring home $3,200 a month and you spend $3,200. You're not broke, but you're also not building anything. Rent, food, bills, debt, subscriptions, and then zero. So your first job isn't investing, it's creating a gap. Maybe it's $50, maybe it's $200. It doesn't matter because $50 is something you can build with. $0 isn't. And you don't necessarily need to earn more to create your first gap. Sometimes you just need to stop the leaks. Cancel one subscription, cook a few more meals at home, sell something you don't use. The goal is simple. Create your first $50 of breathing room. Now you have something to work with. Now you've created a gap. So what should that next dollar do? Build a small cash cushion, not 6 months of expenses, not some giant emergency fund, just enough to stop one bad Tuesday from destroying your month. Think roughly $500 to $1,000 as a starter target. Here's why this matters. In a Federal Reserve survey, roughly a third of U.S. adults said they couldn't cover a $400 emergency with cash. A $400 problem can turn into a credit card problem. And a credit card problem gets harder to escape the longer it sits there. Your car doesn't care that you're trying to invest. Neither does your broken phone or the vet bill. Without cash, emergencies usually go on a credit card. Then you're trying to invest while fighting yesterday's emergency. That's backwards. Your starter cushion is your financial shock absorber. It keeps a small emergency from becoming a big financial problem. So don't think, I'm not investing yet. Think, I'm protecting my future investments. Now you've got a small cushion. Your next dollar may have an even more important job. Kill expensive debt, especially credit card debt. Let's say your credit card charges you 24% interest. If you invest that dollar instead, your investment needs to earn more than 24% just to compete with the interest you're being charged. And the stock market doesn't promise you 24%. It doesn't even promise you 10%. So if you're carrying expensive credit card debt, don't get distracted by the latest stock everyone's talking about. The boring move may be the powerful move. Pay off the debt. Every dollar of high-interest debt you eliminate is a guaranteed expense you no longer have to pay. That's a pretty good return. This doesn't mean every debt must be paid before investing. A low-rate mortgage is different. A low-interest student loan is different. We're talking about the expensive debt that's actively eating your paycheck. That debt needs to move. Now we get to the fun part. Free money. If your employer offers a retirement match, pay attention. Say your employer offers, you contribute 6% and we'll match part of it. You earn $45,000. 6% is $2,700. If your employer adds $1,350, you've turned a $2,700 contribution into $4,050 in the account. That's a powerful return before your investment even has a chance to grow. The exact rules vary. Some employer contributions have vesting requirements, so check your plan. But if you're leaving part of an available match on the table, don't. Check your benefits. Then make it one of your highest priorities. You don't need to be an investing expert. You just need to know what your employer is offering. Once you've captured the match, your next destination may be a tax-advantaged retirement account. In the US, that might mean a Roth IRA or another retirement account. Other countries have their own version. The names change. The idea doesn't. Some accounts give your investments better tax treatment. Same investment, same market, same return. But one account keeps more of it in your pocket. Over decades, that difference can become significant. So don't just ask, what should I invest in? Ask, where should I hold it? If you're outside the US, don't worry about the name Roth IRA. Look for the retirement or investment account in your country that gives you favorable tax treatment. The principle is the same. Don't pay more tax than you need to. And finally, we get to the part everyone wanted to talk about, investing. Now, your dollar can actually go into the market. This is where beginners often make things complicated. They search for the best stock, the next Amazon, the next big winner. But you don't need to find the next winner. You can own hundreds or thousands of companies at once through a broad index fund. Simple, diversified. According to Spiva research, the majority of actively managed U.S. equity funds have historically failed to beat their own benchmarks over long periods. So if professional fund managers struggle to consistently beat the market, you probably don't need to make your first $100 a stock picking competition. Make it simple, make it diversified, give it time. Don't rely on motivation. Automate it. Motivation sounds great on payday until payday arrives and suddenly there's a sale on something you definitely don't need. So instead of asking yourself every month, should I move some money into savings? Don't ask. Set it up automatically. $25 a week, $50 a week, whatever your current gap allows. The money moves before you have a chance to spend it. You're no longer trying to become a disciplined person. You've built a system that doesn't require discipline every single time. Your money moves because you told it to. Here's something strange about investing. The better you get at it, the less exciting it becomes. You build your cushion, you pay down the card, you capture the match, you invest automatically, and then you go live your life. That's actually the goal. The internet makes investing look like something you should constantly be watching. Prices moving, someone predicting a crash, someone announcing the next big thing. But if your system is working, you don't need to check your portfolio every hour. Your money already has a job, and it's doing it without you. That's the difference between having an investment and having a system. You might be thinking, if I spend months building a cushion and paying off debt, aren't I losing valuable investing time? Technically, yes. But here's the better question. What happens if you invest too early? You put $1,000 in the market. Your car breaks down. You don't have cash, so you sell your investment. And maybe the market's down. Now you didn't just have an emergency, you locked in a loss. Your emergency fund isn't competing with your investments. It's protecting them. The goal isn't to invest as fast as possible. It's to build a system you don't have to undo later. Maybe you're thinking, Anne, I don't have $1,000. That's okay. Maybe you have $30. Then start with $30. Your next dollar doesn't become less important because it's small. Wherever you are in the order, cushion, debt, match, investing, put it there. The amount changes. The order doesn't. You don't need to start big. You need to start correctly. So here's the system, ridiculously simple. Job 0, create a gap. Job 1, build a small cash cushion. Job 2, attack high-interest debt. Job 3, capture your employer match if you have one. Job 4, use the tax-advantaged accounts available to you. Job 5, invest in something simple and diversified. Automate the whole thing. Not exciting, not complicated, incredibly powerful. Now let's make this real. Imagine two people. Both start with $0. Both finally find an extra $200 a month. Same income, same starting point, same opportunity. But they give their dollars very different jobs. Person A, the first $200 goes into a hot stock. It jumps. They're excited. Then the market drops. At the same time, their car breaks down. No emergency fund, so the repair goes on a credit card. Now they're carrying high interest debt while their investment is down. They feel trapped. They sell. They've just turned a market drop into a permanent loss. Person B, same $200, but the first job is different. They build their starter cushion, attack the credit card, capture the employer match, start investing, automate the process. 6 months later, the market drops. Person B checks their account. They're not thrilled, but they're not panicking either because they don't need that investment to pay tomorrow's bill. Their emergency money is separate. Their debt is shrinking. Their employer is contributing. Their investment is designed for the long term. Same $0, same first $200. Different order, completely different experience. That's the power of sequence. Here's how you actually use this. Don't try to fix your entire financial life tonight. Just do 3 things. First, look at last month's income and spending. Find the gap, even if it's only $30. Second, give that gap a job. Starter cushion, high interest debt, employer match, retirement account, investing. Pick the step you're actually on. Third, automate the next transfer. Even $25. The goal isn't to impress yourself this week, it's to make next month's version of you a little harder to knock off course. That's how this starts. Not with $10,000, not with a perfect portfolio, with $1 that finally has a job. You don't need $10,000 to start investing. You don't need a perfect salary. You don't need to find the next hot stock. You need to know, what should my next dollar do? Maybe today, it's build your first $500 cushion. Maybe it's kill that 24% credit card. Maybe it's get your employer match. Maybe it's open your retirement account. Maybe it's buy your first index fund. There's no shame in starting with the first step because the first step is still movement. And once every dollar has a job, something changes. You're no longer randomly trying to get better with money. You're building a system, $1 at a time. So forget about becoming rich overnight. Forget about catching up with everyone online. Just look at the next dollar and ask, what should you do? Because that dollar is where everything starts. If you want more simple money lessons without the financial jargon, hit subscribe and tell me in the comments, what's your next dollar's job?